audio. We're using computer audio. I think we're on. Okay, cool. So wait for some people maybe to come in because we're a little bit early.
Quality camera.
This camera.
Way better.
Yeah, this camera's the schmuck.
Real nice.
Yeah, you can see all my dimples and everything.
Make sure the mic's set up in this new one. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, everything's Guccio. So we have this beginning thing. So it's me and Schlegs representing Yeshiva Skula Show, one of the only yeshivas that's open during this Corona Zeit. Corona Zeit's the yeshivish way to say Corona time.
Oh, that's how we say it?
Corona Zeit.
Sprigly Sprach.
Sprigly Sprach, put it up.
More Steigen here is coming soon, guys.
Oh, that's for sure.
Oh, we're Steigen.
Yo. So,
Hello.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Sadik?
Oh, chilling hard, bro. Chilling hard.
Looking good.
Yeah, man.
Nice and handsome over. I am in the Machzan. I just need a minute or two to set up my station. I'm going to turn on my camera.
All right, more dick, yo. So, put the camera where? Back to me? All right. Everyone's stegging in their place. Everyone's going where they're going, And tonight's share is about where we're all going, I have a Daf Mekoros called The Worlds to Come that I'm going to copy. How do I send it to this thing?
There's a chat.
Yeah, I know, but there's a chat. That's a good point. That is a good point. I'm just admit. Yo, I'm gonna holler, bro. All right, so I'm gonna put the sources that I'm gonna use some of these sources I'm not gonna use,
No peer pressure.
Welcome, by the way, to Hosam Zaki, my dear friend.
Hosam.
From Ontario, I think. He told me, I forgot. I think it's Ontario. Maybe it's Quebec. No, not Quebec. Hosam, where are you from again? Remind us. Ottawa, right. I got the first letter.
Nice people in Canada, always nice.
Yeah, Ottawa. Cool. Yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, Hosam, you can put your face on if you want.
I'm going to be facing it in a minute.
All right, dope, yo. All right, I'm going to send to the chat the Makoros. I actually only sent them in Hebrew. Let me see if I can get them bilingually. We're not going to be seeing every Makor, but, we'll be perusing them as we do, All right. So we're gonna start today. Is everyone ready? Everyone's chilling. Everyone's steiging.
Yeah, I'm coming in. I'm ready.
All right. So you see the sheets that I gave?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start by analyzing this Gemara in Sanhedrin. This Gemara in Sanhedrin is it's in a special place. It's called Perek HaChelek. It talks about everyone has a portion in the world to come, or it actually says Kol Yisrael, which is a good question,
But it says in the future that everyone has Shem Israel put on them.
Yeah, that's it.
See, we don't know what that means, but I think you're right. It's the whole world.
Yeah,
but you'll have to go through the sugyas,
Yeah, right now that's just the introduction to the sugya. I wasn't even thinking about saying that. Just that's what parak we're in. So this parak, this chapter talks about the worlds to come, right? It talks about the days of Messiah, Yemos Mashiach. It talks about Olam Haba, which is the world to come. And we'll see that not everyone agrees that all these things are the same. There's actually a big machlokas. What are the definitions of these times? This is like what are the limitations? What are these times that we're going for? What can we expect, etc. So without further ado, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Chia bar Abba says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. So he says, Kol HaNeviim Kulan, all of the prophets, Lo Niznabu Ela Limos HaMashiach. They were talking about the time in the days of Messiah, Aval Olam Haba, but in the world to come, Ayin Lo Ra'asa Elohim Zulasecha, which is the pasuk in Yeshayahu. It says that the eye is never seen in the world to come. The world to come is something completely not seen, not known. We have no way to conceive of it. Our minds are not built for the understanding of the world to come. Yeah, what's up, Aaron?
I'm sorry, maybe my question is too premature, but you'll talk about it after. But it seems like we're dealing with two different things that most people think are one reality, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We're clearly bifurcating here. Right? We're clearly saying that there's a difference. Like, he says, well, first he says, right, he says, Ein ben olam hazet limos HaMashiach, except for Shibud Malchus. Wait, hold on, sorry. He says, the Nevi'im were talking about Yemos HaMashiach, but Olam Haba is like something unfathomable. It says, Upliga de Shmuel, and he's arguing with Shmuel, the Amar Shmuel. Shmuel says, Ein ben olam hazet limos HaMashiach, ela Shibud Malchus bilvad. Saying the only difference between this world and the days of Messiah is, and he calls it Shibud Malchus. So how would Shibud Malchus means subjective, like
well, first of all, it's not one thing. It's not like, oh, just this, because that one thing has billions of ramifications and affects our life. So you could literally translate it as like the yoke of the nations of like foreign rulers on our shoulders will not be there anymore. And then what's the byproducts of not having that on our shoulders anymore will be part of that era. But the main difference will have been that, right?
Right. Hosam, what do you think? I hear you saying here.
Thank you, bro.
Like the only difference is the Shibud Malchus. But what does it mean that there will be no kingship, no government oppression, maybe?
Is it just oppression?
It says Shiabud, which is like a subject. The government won't oppress the subject.
Our brother over here said just oppression, but maybe oppression's everything that's been holding us back. Like maybe that's the number one thing that has stopped humanity from flourishing is people who rise to power and then somehow consolidate a goodness for themselves without worrying how to share it. So now we're being oppressed because there's someone who has access to level us up to bring us into goodness, and they're withholding it from us.
What realm are we talking about? Is it physical, spiritual, mental?
Great question. What is the realm? Like, is this the same world? So according to Shmuel, it seems that the only difference is that there will not be any governmental oppression, right? According to Rabbi Yochanan, by the way, they were contemporaries. Rabbi Yochanan was in Israel and Shmuel was in Babylon. And like they would have guys running back and forth like, yo, did you hear what Rabbi Yochanan said? In Israel, you hear what they're saying over there? He's like, what?
I wonder if they had like pigeon messengers.
They had what?
Pigeon messengers, like
no. It was two Amoraim.
No, I'm saying communication
One of them was
between Babylon
Rabdimi.
and communication between Babylon and Israel. I wonder if they were like sending bird messages back and forth.
Maybe, but when you're dealing with like Torah, they weren't risking sending it on a bird. They gave like, right. Yo, Ravdimi, go run over there. He's like, I'm on it. You know, he was like a marathon.
Maybe he didn't have to sleep in a sukkah because he was osik b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah.
Good word. So anyways, what is this time? What are these things? We're going to see a few different opinions in the Rishonim. I talked about this. In my sheet, I brought like a bunch of different Gemaras that talked about Olam Haba. Maybe we'll tell them too. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll bring them over. Right now, I like the sources. Listen, I love Safaria, and I got insider information that they're working on like upgrading their thing to make the source sheets and everything much more user friendly. And so hopefully that will come soon. But for now, in the source sheet, you have to like go down a little bit. And I brought a Rambam, a Maimonides in Hilchos Tshuva, where he talks about Olam Haba and Yemos HaMashiach. So for the first God that we're going to talk about is Maimonides. His name is called the Rambam in Hebrew, called Nesher HaGadol, the great eagle. You know, in Arabic they called him Musa bin Mimon or something. Mimun?
Yeah, Musa bin Maimun.
Musa bin Mimun is coming up over here. And so he's going to say, first he's going to, because one more question that I have in the Gemara before we get to Musa is the Gemara seems to say that, okay, so Rabbi Yochanan talks about both. He talks about Yemos HaMashiach, which are the days of Messiah, right? And he talks about Olam Haba, which is the days to come, right? The world to come, right? Shkayach. But Shmuel says, no. The difference between this world and the next world and the days of Messiah are only are only the oppression of the government. And so what does Shmuel think happens in Olam Haba? That's question number one. Question number two is, what does Shmuel or what does either of them think? Kol HaNavim, all of the prophets didn't talk. When they were talking, they were only talking about. So Rabbi Yochanan says Yemos HaMashiach. What does he mean by that? What's going to happen that they spoke about Yemos HaMashiach? And what does Shmuel hold Olam Haba is? So these are two questions that we have.
So they meant it as physical oppression, I'm guessing.
According to Shmuel, that's for sure, because he says the only thing that's different is the Shibud Malchios.
Okay. Well, a physical oppression could lead to a spiritual oppression pretty quickly.
Isn't it a prerequisite to physical oppression? Is it a spiritual oppression? Which one's the prerequisite? Like, you know what I mean?
Let's say, for example, there was a certain ritual that we did, and through that ritual, we would get to a spiritual level. Now, let's say there's like a government or a king who says, I forbid this ritual from happening. So now it's like, oh, I have to stay home. I can't do my ritual. So now I can't access that spiritual domain.
So I totally hear what Rabbi Harry is saying, but I also hear what Hosam is saying, in the sense that why does someone oppress someone else physically? It's because he thinks that's what he needs to do in order to be chilling. In days to come, everyone's gonna be good. No one's gonna need anything. No one's gonna need to oppress another person in order to make himself feel good. And so, right? And so it's like a spiritual revolution will cause the physical revolution, which is exactly what we saw by Yetzias Mitzrayim, by leaving Egypt, right? That first we got out of the suffering of Egypt, and then we ended the slavery. Right? Fine. So we're gonna see what is we're gonna first see Maimonides and see, because we're gonna see some interesting things. If you see on one of the sources that I bring in Hilchos Tshuva Chet Zayin, but I'm gonna just go on a source that I couldn't bring because it's so complicated. Hilchos Tshuva Ches Bet, he says that Ha'olam haba ein bo guf b'gviyah. There's no physicality. So according to the Rambam, what he's saying now is that the world to come, there's no physicality, only souls of the righteous, without a body. He says, wow. He says, Kim malachei hashares. So he says, in the world to come, we will be like angels, right? And he actually brings a raya. He brings a proof to this, that we're not going to have bodies. Because he brings up proof. There's a Gemara that he brings in Brachos Yud Zayin. I think I bring it somewhere down here. Like you gotta scriggity scroll Bachos Nun Zayin, it says, Loka Olam Haza Olam Haba, this world is not like the next world. It says, in Olam Haba, in the world to come, there's no eating and no drinking and no sex and no masav and matan. There's no like back and forth, no business, no kina, no sinna, no tachris, no jealousy, no hatred, no competition. Ela tzadikim yoshvin, tzadikim are sitting, ba'atroseim biroshein, and their crowns are on their head. And they enjoy cotton, right? They enjoy some spiritual raise or something, right?
Raise,
like Ziv Hashchina.
Beautiful. Like some type of like energy that's pouring from one source to another that we're receiving.
Some sort of spiritual thing that the Rambam says we don't even know what that is even going to look like in Olam Haba, right? And so that's what the Rambam learns about Olam Haba. He says that if we skip, right? So that was Yudbet, and then he says in Zion, which I actually brought in 2:7 in this parak, he says V'kama. This is a very funny thing to read because he says V'kama kama David. How much, like kama kizeh kama nichsof nichsafti? How much did people want this Aved David l'chayla? He wanted it so much, and so he says, right? How much did he want it? How much did King David want it? All of the Chacham Rishonim, but they say the Olam Haba, we have no way to grasp it. Only God, and he says that there's no body, there's no corporality. He says Ella Devarim Shabaguf Shenenim Ben Yisrael Liamos HaMashiach Bizman Shetashuv HaMemshala LiYisrael. He says in the time of the Yemos HaMashiach, in the days of Messiah, the Rambam says that the Memshala, the government, will go back to the Jewish people, which is not necessarily how I understood the Gemara. When I saw that there's not going to be Shibud Malchios, I didn't think, the Jews are going to control the world. The Jews are going to be, I saw that the government, world government, is not going to be oppressive. They're not going to tell us this substance you can take, this substance you can't not take, right? They're not going to try to control us like might be happening now. Like, I don't know. The jury's still out for what's going to happen. But,
I mean, there's been a lot of studies just even on mind control programming just in TV episodes that we watched as kids, where there was an agenda. They wanted to train us to be a certain way. So they would embed information into the content we would consume to make us a certain way. And that's already studies been done on that. There's documentaries about it. So we already are, you and I and everyone in this chat are the result of someone's agenda because we watched Disney movies as a kid,
Right.
As simple as that. That was just a small example of.
Right. No, I hear you. That we're there's definitely pop culture. Pop culture definitely influences us a lot, and I believe that that's how Trump won the presidency because he understood. That's why Trump always talks about ratings because ratings say how many people have I influenced, right? And that's why he's always talking about ratings. He's always right because he knew that he was going to be able to
Good call.
That so, but yeah, definitely. And that's also Shibud Malchios, maybe, right? That's also they're controlling us, but there it's not really control because they're saying, look, this is their art. They just have the ability to share art on a global scale, but hopefully we'll all be able to do that also very soon. And so we see that the Rambam holds, and I actually drew a little bit of a, I don't know if anyone could read that, but I drew a little bit of a diagram. We'll figure it out. We're still just getting started figuring out how to do this, figure out how to make a diagram, put it up on the screen, But so the Rambam says that there's Olam Haba, and there's also Mashiach, the days of Messiah, where all the Nevi'im were talking about it. So who's the Rambam holding by the way? And then you have Olam Haba, which is, the Rambam says Olam HaNeshamos, right?
Not like Shmuel, right?
Not like Shmuel, exactly, like Rabbi Yochanan. He says Beferish like Rabbi Yochanan. Right? Beferish. Hosam, you know what beferish means?
No, what's beferish?
Beferish, like explicitly. The Rambam explicitly brings down the words of Rabbi Yochanan here, right? Now we take a look. At 9:2, same book, same subbook, same subsection of the subbook, just different chapter, one chapter over, right? That the thing we just saw was 8:7, and now we're seeing 9:2. And in 9:2, he talks about how much everyone wanted Yemos HaMashiach. That the government, they won't, right? The government, they talk about the nations. This was written in the middle of like the 2,000-year diaspora, Galus, Exodus, and so what the Rambam was talking about was just like, yo, like these non-Jews are just not letting us study. And he's like, that's the only thing that's the difference. And like nowadays we can do that. We see that like a Jew can study, a Jew can learn, and still, like, I don't know, are we right now in the days of Messiah? That's another question. But the Rambam seemed to hold that it was just that they couldn't learn, they couldn't do Torah mitzvos because like they kept on getting killed. So that's why they wanted Yemos HaMashiach. That's why they wanted the days of Messiah.
Is it just a one-time happenstance, like one Messiah, one future days, or is it cyclical, like kind of in the Matrix? Like, there are many Neos, and these, you know what I'm saying?
It's a very good question. We know that one of the greatest Jewish rabbis of all times, Rabbi Akiva, he believed that his friend Bar Kokhba was Mashiach ben David, the son of David, and he believed that he himself was Mashiach ben Yosef. So there is a strand of thought amongst the Yidden, the Jews, that there are actually two messiahs, and they're coming to like handle different like aspects of life, and so they come back, and we believe that they come back every generation. Like there are people who could do it, Can
I add something?
Yeah, please.
So my understanding is that there's a certain certain accomplishments that somebody would have to accomplish for them to actually be considered like they were the Messiah. They have to like establish certain
Considered by whom?
I remember it was established the Sanhedrin to unite Israel. And
You got a raya?
I don't have a makor, so I really shouldn't say it.
It's interesting,
but it's something that I remember hearing.
Yeah, a lot of people have like things that they remember hearing. Now I'll say that Rav Kook, who was the biggest Zionist rabbi of all times, he came over. Rav Kook, he came over to Israel in like the 1920s, and Rav Kook, you probably never heard of Rav Kook, but you probably have heard of, maybe you heard of Herzl. Rav Kook wrote a Torah thing, like a drasha, saying that Herzl was Mashiach ben Yosef.
Based on the quality that your friend just said?
What?
As in, based on the qualities?
No, but that's actually a big question on what my friend just said. Because my friend is saying that he needs to like set up Sanhedrin and do all this stuff. That actually, but my friend's talking about maybe is Mashiach ben David. Because the Rambam does talk about that kind of stuff. But Mashiach ben Yosef, Rav Kook says, and Mashiach ben Yosef, and like Herzl wasn't even religious at all.
I think we teach that there's three things that Mashiach has to do before he could be legally declared a Mashiach, was to build the Holy Temple, to unite the tribes of Israel, and to bring world peace. Those are the three things. Until one man does those three things, we can't declare him Messiah.
Okay.
You got a raya for Messiah?
I thought that was Rambam, but I'll look that up.
Yeah, so when we're bringing things
it's based off of text in the prophecies.
Oh, well, I gotta see it. We gotta see it. Like everything that we say in shir, it's gotta be mukhrach. It's gotta be based on text. But it happens to be that there might be a Rambam that says that, and the Rambam, if there's a Rambam that's talking about it, about Mashiach ben David, the Rambam doesn't talk about Mashiach ben Yosef at all. So I wasn't even going to get into that sugya of the bifurcation. You know?
The Vilna Gaon speaks a lot about that. Yeah, you don't see the Rambam speak a lot about it.
The Rabbi doesn't talk about the difference between the messiahs.
But Trei Mashichin is an old concept, and my rabbi said one of the sources for the concept of the Trei Mashichin is when we pray, we say the Alu Moshim Bahar Tzion Lishpotet Harisav, and the Redeemers, like he uses plural for the Redeemers when we pray.
Yeah. So Myra Dick. So first of all, so that's the Rambam. The Rambam seems to say that it's like Rabbi Yochanan, not like Shmuel. But then the Rambam goes on and he says Aval Yemoza Mashiach. He talks about Olam Haba again. He says Olam Haba is going to be so amazing. Tarba Adeya. Everyone's going to be an elevation of consciousness. Tarba Adeya. V'achachma, v'ha'emes, of truth and wisdom. Shenemar ki mala ha'aretz de'es Adonai. The world will be filled with knowing God, right? And there will be no war and all this stuff. And it's going to be crazy. That's in Olam Haba. Ava Yemosa Mashiach, he says at the end of 9:2. Hu ha'olam hazeh, is this world, the olam kiminhago holech. Yemosa Mashiach, says the Rambam, is olam hazeh. Is olam hazeh. Yemosa Mashiach. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, we would say that Yemosa Mashiach is not even olam hazeh. Right? Rabbi Yochanan would say that it's not even olam hazeh. He says all this Nevi'im, all the crazy stuff that the prophets were talking about. But according to Shmuel, it is olam hazeh. And they argue, right? He says, no, it's olam hazeh. The Rambam is paskening, he's bringing it down. It's olam hazeh, olam kaminago holech. Everything's going according to normal. That the Jews will be on top. And again, I don't know if that's how I was learning that Gemara of like that Shibud Malchios, is that the Jews will not be like subject and like tortured and blah blah blah, but that no one will be subject to Shibud Malchios, right? How crazy would that be? If the days of Messiah that we're all waiting for, the Israeli government is still keeping us inside and telling us not to take mushrooms and smoke weed. What kind of days of Messiah is that? What kind of redemption is that? And Zak the Rabban, to finish, Ukvar Aru Chachamim, the wise men, our sages said, Chamar Rishonim, Ein bein olam hazeh limosa Mashiach ela shibud malchus bilvad. There's nothing different between this world and the world to come, except for this oppression of the government. Wait a second, who said that? Who said that?
Not like Shmuel again?
Wait, what did he say? He just said, Kvar Amru Chacham Rishon Ein Bein Olam Hazeh L'Mos Mashiach Ela Shibud Malchus Bilvad. We look back in the Gemara. What does Shmuel say? Ein Bein Olam Hazeh L'Mos Mashiach Ela Shibud Malchus Bilvad. It's an exact quote. Wait, it's an exact quote of Shmuel.
Did they say B'Shem Omro in the name
Rabbi
of the
doesn't say things B'Shem Omro. He says Chachamim Arishainim, right? The early sages.
I love it.
Wait a second, didn't the Rambam just tell us that he's passing like Rabbi Yochanan? Okay. Right? Didn't we see that he just said that Amru Chachamim Kol Nevi'im Kulam Lo Nisnabu El Yemos HaMashiach. All of the prophets did not do prophecy except for Yemos HaMashiach. Aval Ha'olam Haba Ayin Lo Ras Elohim Zulazecha, which is a direct quote of Rabbi Yochanan, his interlocutor. How could this be?
He's probably saying Gam V'Gam.
How could he possibly be saying Gam Gam? There's a machlokas in the Gemara.
Yeah, the whole nature of the Gemara is saying why two things that seemed like a machloket really weren't a machloket.
I thought of that mahalach, of that approach, except that the Gemara says explicitly upliga ad Shmuel, that they're arguing. If Rabbi Yochanan, what is this, quantum mechanics, that an electron can have two locations at one time? How could this be?
Can you break the kasha down just one more time?
Yeah, break the kasha down one more time. So, the Rambam in in 8:7 in the laws of repentance, he quotes the exact words of Rabbi Yochanan, and then the next chapter in 9:2 he quotes the exact words of Rabbi Yochanan's interlocutor Shmuel,
who he disagrees
with.
What are the aspects that he quotes? He's saying he's posting like. What's he saying? Like
he brings down both sides of the machlokas, and he passes them both. And I think that, right? And so we were talking about this in yeshiva, right? We were talking about this, and we're like, I don't know Pshat, right? We're like, we can't get Pshat in this Rambam. How could the Rambam bring over to? So we're down to Kesef Mishnah. The Kesef Mishnah. And the Kesef Mishnah actually says, he says like this. He says that's the memor of Rabbi Chia and the name of Yochanan, the parak of Ma'isha. Yotzi actually quotes, right? He says, "V'dad demashma azam dahad Rabbi Chia bar Abba pliga Shmuel." He argues with Shmuel, "The Amar ein bein olam hazeh nemos Mashiach elishiv malchus." He said there's an argument, Rabbi Yochanan and Shmuel. V'Rabbeinu kasav kan had Rabbi Chia bar Abba. He says over here, he says like Rabbi Yochanan, but parak, right? Shel achar lezeh. Because of the Shmuel. He's like, but then he calls like Shmuel, B'tzarach. So the Kesef Mishnah, the Mechaber of the Shulchan Aruch, Mechaber of the Beis Yosef, the Mechaber of the Kesef Mishnah, right? And Magid Mesharim, he basically learned this sugya and he came up with the exact same question that we had, which is, how could this be? How could this be?
Can you one more time just say what Rabbi Yochanan says and what Shmuel says?
Rabbi Yochanan says that all of the Nevi'im, all of the crazy prophecies were talking about Yemos HaMashiach. And Shmuel says that the only difference between Yemos HaMashiach and this world is Shibud Malchios, is oppression of government.
Okay, so what's the kasha?
The kasha is that Rabbi Yochanan was saying that this world is going to be different than Yemos HaMashiach. Yemos HaMashiach, everything in Yemos HaMashiach, then they didn't talk about it, this completely new world is going to be in the days of Messiah. Okay. And Shmuel says nothing is changing in the days of Messiah except for this one point.
Okay, so I would suggest, just on my opinion, is that why is there a kasha if the Nevi'im, they could see during the Yemos HaMashiach, right? They were able to prophesy during the Yemos HaMashiach.
According to Rabbi Yochanan, they were talking about Yemos HaMashiach.
Okay, right. And Shmuel only says, he doesn't say they weren't talking about Yemos HaMashiach. He just says there's the only difference between Olam Hazeh and Yemos HaMashiach is Shibud Malchus.
So when there's Tchias HaMesim, according to Rabbi Yochanan, because that's what the Nevi'im were talking about, and there's Tchias HaMesim, and there are people waking up from their grave and going and wiggity walking around, Shmuel's going to be like, oh, no, there's no difference. That's happened in this world. It's a bumba, yo.
Well, maybe the Shibud Malchus is what's holding us back from being able to reach those spiritual levels, like Harry was saying.
So you're saying that the Shibud Malchus, so they're saying that, but that's not, wouldn't be under, that wouldn't
like
be
Geula, Goreret, Geula, like Mitzvah, Goreret, Mitzvah. One thing leads to the next.
It doesn't matter. It wouldn't be Yemos HaMashiach. Yemos HaMashiach, the only difference is, according to Shmuel, there's no Tchias HaMesim in Yemos HaMashiach. That's for sure. Oh. And according to Rabbi, there is.
Wait, according to Shmuel, is there Tchias HaMesim at all?
According to everyone, there's Tchias HaMesim, but that's actually true. And the Ravid, according to Shmuel doesn't mention Tchias HaMesim. He's just saying this. I'm using Tchias HaMesim as an example. But it's actually fascinating that the Ravid over here, when the Rambam says that there's no guf, he says Amar Avram, right? The Ravid. Amar Avram. Amar Avram. Says, Divrei ha'ish hazeh be'einai krovim l'misha Amar ein Tchias HaMesim. V'kufos el shozeh. The Ravid says, the Rambam, where's the Rambam talking about the Tchias HaMesim? Right? It seems like the Rambam, but the fact that the Rambam posing like the Rambam doesn't even mention Tchias HaMesim. Tchias HaMesim is a question according to the Rambam. When is there Tchias HaMesim? What is the point of Tchias HaMesim? If Olam Haba, if the world to come is a world of neshamos, of souls, then what is Techiyas HaMesim according to the Rambam? What point does it serve? And that's what the Rabbi is saying, like, yo, like, what's going on? Is there an idea of coming back from the death? Now I have an important question for Hosam Zaki. Is there an idea of Techiyas HaMesim in Islam? Do you know?
Can you explain it first?
Oh yeah, good point.
What is it?
You're like, what's Techiyas? Coming back from the dead.
Yeah, there is.
There is.
Yeah, resurrection.
Nice. So we gotta figure that out also, because I noticed that
also
the
a messianic figure in Islam, Messiah.
What?
The Imam Mahdi is the final Messiah, I believe, for Islam.
Nice.
No, he's not the Messiah. He's just I don't know, there for administrative purposes. I have no idea why, but the Messiah is someone different in Islam.
Oh, okay.
His name is
Hosam. He's the guy. Okay.
But yo, I did, but like, because another thing I was thinking about Islam is that according to the Rambam, there's an olam haba. There's not going to be eating. There's not going to be drinking, and there's not going to be copulating intercourse. But
He's a Buddhist. He's a Buddhist, basically.
He's not a Buddhist in this world. He's a Buddhist in the olam haba.
But if you say it's the same, but didn't you just say a quote right now that there's no difference between this and the other word?
That's exactly the contradiction. Because later on,
why is it a contradiction, though? Why is it a contradiction if we just go back?
Two opinions. One opinion says this world is exactly the same as the days of Messiah, except the only difference is the oppression of the government. And then, but before that, the Rabbi says that, yo, in the world to come,
maybe there's a distinction between the physicality of things and how you perceive things. You know how there's an idea of heaven and hell, hell being that you being in heaven but not being able to see it, kind of thing. So there's a clear distinction between the physicality of things. And
you mean like after a person dies, like where he goes?
Something like that, or even
that's a great kasha. That's a great question, because the Rambam doesn't talk about that at all over here. And as far as I know, like, where's the Rambam? The Rambam doesn't mention that world, right? The Rambam just says that there's going to be this world, then there's going to be the days of Messiah, which he seems to not know how it's going to be. He doesn't say how he thinks it's going to be. And then he says there's going to be an Olam Haba world to come, where they're going to be the souls. Wait a second, though. What about all the people that die in this world before the world to come, before the days of Messiah? Where are they stelling? Where are they chilling? Where are they?
He mean resurrected souls, or he means just people with higher consciousness? People with elevated spirituality?
This thing just went off. People with elevated spirituality. No, it's a resurrection. And the Rambam doesn't mention resurrection over here. And the Rambam doesn't mention what happens when a person dies.
So if he doesn't mention resurrection, why are you assuming then when they say the world of souls, he means literally souls?
Because he says that. He says, Olam haba ein bo guf gvia ela nefashot. There's no body, there's no physicality, there's no form, just souls. It's abstract intellect over here.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's exaggerated literature kind of thing, that you'll don't care about the physicality of things and just, you know what I mean? When you've done shrooms before.
That's not what the Rambam is saying.
Also, when you dream, there's no body, right? But you have a body, but when you're dreaming, there is no body. It's not a contradiction.
It's not. Even when you're on shrooms, dude, you don't have body.
That's an example. Yeah, someone will describe it. I wasn't here.
Exactly.
There was no me. That'll be something very common for people to report after a psychedelic experience.
Death of ego, death of body, just whatever.
Nice.
A soul kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. So, just one more question about this whole concept in Islam, and it's such an honor that we have Hosam with us.
Yes.
One question.
Thanks for letting me in.
Oh, for sure, bro. One question that I had is, like, we know, everyone knows, and I don't have a raya. I don't have a makor for this. I don't know like where this comes from, like what the source is, but we know that certain Muslims are promised 72 virgins in the world to come. So like, wait a second, like how does Islam understand the world to come? If there are virgins and if there are like, so there's definitely sex up there. Maybe you can't have sex with them. Maybe they're just
There are
like
so many contradictions. So the thing about Islam is there is no central body of authority, a body of knowledge that's kept. Different people have different pockets of schools of thoughts, and they, like, you know what I mean? Some people believe in the 72 virgin thing. Some people don't. They'll tell you, no, it's not part of it.
Do you know the source? Do you know like the hadith or something that like says it?
No, not off the top of my head.
We'll figure that out. It's an interesting sugya, and we gotta think about that also. How it works in Islam, how it works, because like the world to come. We're gonna see right now another. So we'll figure that out. I didn't do any research on Islam because I didn't even know where to start. But now that we're learning with Hosam, I'm like, yo, Taka, I got a kasha. Like, it's like a question, But we'll take a look at another Jewish guy. The first guy was Ramban, Maimonides. This guy is Ramban, Nachmanides. You ever hear of him?
Nachmanides, no.
Yeah, Nachmanides.
Let me Google him.
Oh, Google that guy. He's amazing, Nachmanides. And so the Ramban is brought down by the Perush, right? Now, Rabbi Harry definitely knows the Ramban, Everyone knows the Ramban, right? Rav Wilson used to say, it's the Rambam and the Ban, right? It's a source of a lot of contention in yeshivish world. Like, yo, did you say Rambam or did you say Ramban? Ramban. So the way they say is, you have the Rambam, you put the accent on the first syllable, then you have the Ramban, you put the accent on the second syllable. Anyways, there's this unknown Perush that's brought in Hilchos Tshuva, and he actually brings down the words of the Ramban, and I brought it on your source sheet. If you guys want to see it, it just says Perush. It says Perush to the thing. I think. It's a long source sheet. Stupid Sefaria. Not that stupid. I love Sefaria, but I can't wait till they get a little bit better. So the Ramban says in the Perush, which I definitely brought, but it might have gotten erased because this program is crazy. Found it, just kidding. This program should everyone working with it. My sister works for this website. That's why I know inside information, and that's why also yo, you gotta fix it. Like, come on, Tali, I know you're watching.
No, Safari is like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
By the way, if they are watching, I have some ideas for them also, how they could make it even crazier. So I'll just throw that out there.
Oh yeah, so I have the ideas. I'm gonna send this to Tali.
The Safari should have features where a content creator can turn things into a course. So like they're so close to already doing it. Like when you have a source sheet in Safari, you could add PDFs, you could add videos, you could type your own content. They should make you organize it into like course format, like 10 modules, you move through the course, and then they could allow you to even sell that course or monetize that course to give Jewish educators, some type of access to Parnassa through their wisdom and content, through coursifying it.
Coursify. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so the Perush of the Ramban and Tali Herzdin and Safaria, we love you very much. We use you every day. And we can't wait to see what you got in store for us. All right. So he goes to the Ramban in Shara Gamur. He says, in a bunch of places, right? The Ramban says, listen, there are a bunch of places that he says, in a he's like, first, coming right into it. He's like, first of all, Olam Haba is the place where you get like the schar. You know what schar is? Reward. Yeah, the reward of the world to come. When after God is Mechaya Mason brings back the dead, right? The Eino Olam HaNeshamos. And it's not the world of the neshamos, like who says that it's the world of the soul. Olam Haba is the world of the soul. There's not gonna be any eating, any drinking.
What does that mean? The world of the soul.
meaning like an absolute abstract world of just intelligences just like floating around like Fart from Rick and Morty.
But that's the literal aspect of it. What's the metaphorical aspect of it? Does it mean just a world of heightened awareness where you don't need the physical pleasures of physicality of things?
Yeah, according to the Rambam, that's what it is. According to the Rambam, people are just the righteous are just like sitting there and learning, and like don't need to eat, no to drink, don't need to have sex, don't need to like get angry, like nothing. Like they're just right.
Awakened kind of thing.
A what?
Awakened, like being on shrooms,
Awakened.
basically.
It seems like they're like kind of basking in like this divine light.
Yeah, the Ziva Shechina.
Like, which is bringing them the light that we can't comprehend or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But that's what the Rambam says. The Ramban says, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's the time where people come back to life and they're chilling in it. He says, no, the world to come is called Gan Eden. Another thing that the Rambam doesn't talk about, the Garden of Eden, where like they're on like a higher level of sorts, right? Like what the Rambam says, he says like they were like Malachei Asharis, the Rambam says. They become like they don't need to eat, they don't need to drink, they become like angels.
So coming back to life, is it, again, I'm going to keep harking on the whole physicality versus metaphorical aspect of things. Yeah. Does it mean that people are just being elevated to a higher consciousness and that's basically coming to life?
Well,
or is it literally zombies, zombie land?
When we talk about it, we always gotta like be clear. We're talking about the Rambam, we're talking about the Ramban, or we're talking about Rabbi Yochanan, we're talking about Shmuel, right?
Rambam,
right? So in the Rambam, the way that the Rambam talks about it is that in Yemos HaMashiach, he kind of contradicts himself in the days of Messiah, but in the world to come, the Rambam clearly says that there's going to be no corporality, and he brings that from Rabbi Yochanan, who says that Ayin Lo Rasa, I didn't even see such a possibility. Right? Now, the Ramban, he says that he says, no, Olam Haba, God's going to bring it, is going to bring it back after the days of Messiah and after Tchias HaMesim, after the people are brought back. Then they'll go into an Olam Haba type thing with their bodies, though. Right? It starts with Or and Basar. It starts with their things, and he says.
Well, let's look at Adam for a second, because when Adam and Eve first came into the reality, sorry about lacking the exact source, but we are taught that they were like translucent. They didn't have like skin. They were like in the world of soul, and then after the sin, they got skinned in this body. Right. They
got ketones or, right, and they were like beings of light, and then they went down, and so the whole idea of Gan Eden is also apropos here. So the Ramban says something Kabbalistic over here, which I just wanted to gloss over, that he says that in the world to come, in this world, the harp had 7 strings. In the days of the Messiah, they will have 8 strings, and in the world to come, they will have 10 strings. And the Ramban actually says, the reason that it's represented by music, and he brings the word musica down. He brings the word in with the chupchik. He says the word musica. See this? Musica. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Ain't davar daka musica. So he says that, like, he talks about the spheros, right? That in this world we can get to 7 spheros. And then in the days of Messiah, we'll get that 8th sphere. We'll get that 8th sphere of, right? The world is having this elevation. And then in the 10, in the world to come, we'll have all 10. And so we see that it's not like it's a process. Even from this world to the next world, from this world to the days of Messiah to the next world, it's a process.
What's
right?
spheros?
What?
What's spheros?
Spheros is a Kabbalistic concept.
Sephirot?
Sephirot, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right, that's why I said it, because I'm like, we've spoken about this concept before. You mentioned it to me. So he's talking about it. And so according to the Ramban, we see a clear, progression, like where everything is on this timeline, right? You got 7, we get a little bit higher. We have another elevation, then we have 8, and then we get a little higher. We have 10. What's happening with 9? What's in the middle? I don't know. I don't know. But the Ramban says that the Moshe Mashiach, we're going to have Sfira Shminit, and then Olam Haba, we have that. But he says, Mikol Panim Nilma Beferish Olam Haba is Olam Sheyesh Bo Guf. The Ramban says, the world to come also, we're going to have bodies, and we're going to have music, and we're going to have harps. It's after people wake up, After
hedonism.
Well, hedonism. Is it hedonism? Why do you think it's hedonism?
Elevated spirits. You don't need anything other than music. Basically, good time, world peace.
Right. Well, hedonism connotes like a very, very physical good time.
Does it though?
I think that's how I always understood it. I'll tell you my proof from Hedonism Bot in Futurama. Hedonism Bot. At the end of the day, when they're only destroyed, he's like sitting there with like a girl and like grapes, and he's like, I regret nothing. So I always thought hedonism was just like eating grapes and like chilling with girls.
So neo-hedonism, spiritual peace, spiritual pleasure.
What's it called?
Neo-hedonism.
Neo-hedonism or spiritual. I mean, I believe hedonism is physical. We got to see the etymology of that word.
Why music? What's the importance of music?
Because music is the most spiritual type of pleasure.
Okay.
Fathomable, because there's like you're getting pleasure, but like from what? You know? And music is a big point in Judaism, in the Torah, in getting prophecy. The way that Elisha used to get prophecy. Elisha was the student of Elijah. And he was like, yo, I need prophecy, but like I can't get it. He's like, yo, bring me the 10-piece band. And he like plugged in his iPod or his earpod. And he was like, now I'm getting prophecy. And we will talk about prophecy actually. Interestingly enough, the connection between music over here and music and prophecy. It's interesting. I wanted to bring over that Gemara, though, that the Rambam used as a proof to his point. Remember the Gemara that the Rambam used as a proof? That Gemara in Brachos and Daf Yud Zayin. Are you guys looking at the source sheet, or is it like way too like?
No, I've been looking at it.
You're looking at it. So you see the Rambam in Brachos and Yud Zayin.
Keep going.
So the Rambam says, Margala bepume de Rav. There was a gem in the mouth of Rav, who happened to be Shmuel's famous interlocutor. And he's like, yo, Olam Hazeh is not like Olam Haba. In Olam Haba, there's not going to be any eating, not going to be any drinking, not going to be any sex, not going to be any other stuff. Just the righteous will sit, and they will have like crowns on their head, and they will enjoy the Ziva Shechina. The Rambam says, look, there's no eating, no drinking. We see that the world to come is different, right? We see that like the world to Olam Haba, we see the world to come is different. Right?
What's the crown aspect of it? Why crown?
Oh, amazing question. What's the crown aspect? And if there's a head, I'm saying there's no corporality, there's no physicality. If there's a head.
So it's just a metaphor of being no physicality.
So the Rambam is going to have to learn that it's a metaphor, right? The Rambam is going to have to say, and not only that, but the Rambam, who doesn't always explain himself, over here he explains himself. You see in 8.2, the Rambam says, that was to say that their crowns are on their head. It's as if to say, das sheyadu, knowledge that they will know, that that will be what gets them to the next world, to the world to come, is with them. That's the Hatara. And he says, just like we say, Simchas Olam al Rosham, and he brings another pasuk that the happiness of the world is on their head. He's like, it's not actually physically on their head. You can't wear Simcha. You can't wear happiness. So it must be that it's like a mindset. So
a mental state.
A mental state, exactly. But we see here just something so beautiful. We see how the Rambam looks at this Gemara, and he's like, look, there's no eating, no drinking. We see that the world to come is not going to be like this world at all. We see that the world to come is going to be a completely different entity. It's going to be the world of the souls. But then the Ramban is looking at this Gemara and saying, it says there's a head. You know?
Yeah.
So so we see that how the two different rabbis learned this Gemara, and it affected how they interpret what the world to come is. But now the Ramban has to answer up for what he's saying, that there's no eating and no drinking, right? If there's no eating and no drinking, so it sounds like the Rambam is correct, right?
Does the crown refer to the kautar? And does the crown refer to one of the sephirot in Kabbalah, the kautar?
Keser, which is the ultimate sphere, which is also crown, which is corona. I'm not getting into the Superchill with corona, but yeah, maybe it talks about the highest elevation of consciousness, which would make sense if you have all 10 spheros, and you're going to have the crown on your head, right? If you have all 10. The Ramban, but how is the Ramban going to answer for our Gemara? Before we move on to how the Ramban is going to answer for our Gemara, I want to just make sure that everyone's that we're all on the same page.
I'm with you.
You're with me? We saw a Gemara in Sanhedrin. We saw that there's a machlokas. We saw the way the Rambam learned. We saw the way the Ramban learned, right? We saw that there was an issue with the Rambam. He seems to paskin like two sides of the. He seems to be trying to have his cake and eat it too over here. But we saw the Rambam and how he learned about Olam Haba, about the world to come. That the world to come is a non-corporeal world. And we saw that the Ramban says that it is a corporeal world after the resurrection of the dead. We saw that the Rambam doesn't even mention the resurrection of the dead. We see that the Ramban does. And we saw this Gemara in Brachos where maybe the entire machlokas actually comes from. Because it says, right, that there's not going to be eating. And so the Rambam says, it's not going to be eating. You see that's incorporeal. But it says that they're wearing crowns. And if there's a head, so it sounds like there is a body, right? So now this Gemara in Brachos, we're gonna have to see how we're gonna see how the Rambam answers for the head question, and how the Ramban is gonna have to answer for the Achila and the Shtia question, right? Because there's no eating and drinking. Wait a second, if it's gonna be like this world, or if there's gonna be corporality, then how is there no eating and drinking?
Interjection. You're recording this, right? Because I have to head out in 5 minutes because it's still 4 p.m. here. I have work to do.
Cool.
But I want to listen in, so keep recording it.
For sure, bro. Thanks for coming.
5 minutes. I won't end abruptly.
Oh, nice. So quick to answer up this question, the Ramban is gonna understand that when it says that there's no eating and no drinking, you can say, if there's no eating and no drinking, there's still physical body. What? How could that possibly be? It says that's how Moshe Rabbeinu was. That's how Moshe, when he took the Jews out of Egypt, brought us down the Torah, he was up on that mountain for 40 days, 40 nights, not eating, not drinking. Says the Ramban, there's a possibility for us, even in this physical world, to get to a level of where we don't need the physical stuff.
That's the significance of Ramadan.
What a Superchill.
So in Ramadan, you don't eat, you fast basically to cut the external and just focus on the internal, which is the spiritual realm. To access a spiritual realm, basically, which is the same in Buddhism too. You don't eat, fasting is a tool to access that without psychedelics,
Right. Interesting. So so we see that also in Islam. There's this idea of that you can elevate by taking yourself out of the physical world a little bit.
transcend the physicality of
right,
things.
but they do eat at night. You guys do eat at night, right?
Yeah, but from the sunrise to sundown.
So it's like a remembrance to what like hopefully will be one day maybe that like one day, because according to the world to come, according to the Ramban, which the Ramban sounds more like the Islam than the Rambam, because the Rambam says it's just souls. If it's just souls, then what are you doing to do with virgins? You know, the worst thing to have is 72 girls, and just putting in to talk to them.
Talk to friend zone.
Your friends.
You get friend zoned.
But the Ramban's like, yo, you still have your body. But the Ramban says, but still, there's not going to be eating, drinking, and he's like, even though they still have the body, they're still not going to be eating and drinking and sex. So according to the Ramban, what's the point of having a body? Right? What's the point of the resurrection of the dead? They bring the body back for like a second round, and it's going to be at a higher level of consciousness, and it's not going to need to eat or drink or copulate.
But what's the point then? What's the point?
I don't know. These are good questions. What's the point of it?
What's the point of resurrection then?
I don't know. Well, the Maimonides doesn't even mention resurrection over here.
Unless resurrection is not resurrection, as in zombie land, like we're imagining it.
No, I mean, I never imagined it as zombies. I mean, I just imagined it as like, you know, like people come back, they get their bodies back, they can like eat, drink, and have sex again. But the Gemara Brachos says, no, there's not going to be eating, not going to be drinking, not going to be sex. And so the question is, well, what's the point of it? But
the Rambam says we're not going to desire relations with women in the future.
Yeah, the Rambam is saying that from this, not just the future, it's an Olam Haba.
Right.
It's in a specific time in the future. In Yemosha Mashiach, though, it sounds like the Rambam is posketing that in Yemosha Mashiach, though, like the only difference is Olam is that there's not going to be Shibud Malchios, right? Now, there are two ways that I could take this shir now. How long has this been so far? Where are we holding? Because I could make an interesting point. Is it an hour? Okay. So I could make an interesting point right now. I'm going to make a very interesting point, then we're going to go back to the Rambam. Just real quick. Is that, you know what? This is going to be part one. There's going to be a part two to this sugya. I wanted to maybe shtel to another sugya. We're talking about prophecy, right? And the way that the Rambam and the Ramban understand prophecy seems to be lishitasam. I brought it over here when you're talking about when Avraham had nevuah, and the way that they describe the nevuah of Avraham with the three servants, right? Or the three men who turned out to be angels. The Rambam says no, it was just nevuah. I didn't see any of it. And the Ramban's like, no, like there's an idea that like they're coming into the physicality. Calls it malbush. That in prophecy that these angels were actually manifested as humans. And so if that's the case, that Olam Haba, we're going to be humans, we're just not going to have to eat. And we know that the Malachim didn't have to eat. They were just making themselves look like they were eating according to the Rambam, according to the Ramban. So that could be a Zel Bazach, right? It could be a Zel Bazach. An identical thing, that the way that they understand Nevuah, when the Rambam understands Nevuah as this completely intellectual thing, the physicality is not there and nothing happened. No one ate any matzahs and no one actually left. Sarah didn't laugh, and they didn't go to Sodom. It was all in Nevuah. None of this actually happened. The Ramban's like, yo. So you say the Ramban's question is, oh, so the Anshe Sodom, the people in Sodom, those people were having nevuah, or the whole thing was having Abraham's thing, but that's the machlokas by nevuah. And so I just think as a tangential point that this machlokas of the end of days might come back and be, according to their reasoning, lishitasam by nevuah, right? And the level that the human beings will be in Olam Haba are like malachim in the sense. And they're like Malachim according to the Rambam, and they're like Malachim according to the Ramban, right? The Rambam says they're like Malachim completely with no physicality, corporality. And the Ramban says they're like malachim, manifested in this world. The way that they see Olam Haba is that we're going to be like malachim. What's the argument? Was does a malach in this world? The Rambam says it's just some spiritual thing. There's no actual physicality to this whatsoever. The Ramban says no, it was a malbish. They were malbushed into it, right? And so there is physicality. There's just an idea. So on a level like of physicality in this world, he doesn't need to drink. So it's lishi tasam, the exact same way that they understand the sugya of the worlds to come is how they understand prophecy. And it works perfectly according to both the Rambam and the Ramban. We're not going to get too much into that right now. I just wanted to bring that up. I think Harry's frozen.
No, I'm with you.
Oh, you're with me?
I had to do a quick mission down here.
Oh, quick mish. All
right, man. I'm gonna have to head out.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for the invite. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. This was great.
Mr. Zaki, I would love to be doing this more often. This is some of the greatest topics humans could be discussing, and having you in the room as that, wisdom wise from another culture coming in, it's just amazing. It really is.
Yeah. You know what?
I appreciate it too, man. I appreciate it.
Yo, Zaki, I'm gonna finish this up in 1 minute. That in the end of the last book of this, the last chapter, the Rambam talks about Yemos HaMashiach, and he quotes Shmuel again, right? And he says that everyone's gonna go back. Okay, bye. He quotes Shmuel again, and he says Kadesh Yizgu. So maybe the Rambam held like Shmuel in the days of Messiah, and like Rabbi Yochanan in the days of the thing. I don't know. We're going to blind shver on the sheet of the Rambam. But we saw the Rambam, we saw Maimonides, we saw Nachmanides, we saw the Ravid, we saw a lot of things. Shkayach everybody for coming.
Can we do another session like going into like the Arizal and what he says and stuff?
Yeah, we'll talk about Kabbalah. There are more topics that I would love to.
This is like part one of many parts.
Yeah, because I also want to get into animal sacrifices and the difference between the Rambam and the Ramban. But not
okay,
for now.
Sign me up.
All right, we'll do another one. Yo, shkayach everybody. Much love.
You're an all-star. Thanks.
Likewise, man.
Yo,
thanks.
Peace out. I'll see you guys soon. And meeting.